Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
One of Barbados's main ports of entry hit by industrial action. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, July 19. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Workers at the Bridgetown port downed tools on Wednesday morning as the industrial climate in the country deteriorates. Barbados's 4 largest trade unions are at loggerheads with government over its decision to increase the controversial National Social Responsibility Levy from 2% to 10%. The unions say they are prepared to settle for a less drastic increase, but government seems unwilling to budge on the levy, which took effect this month. As a result, the unions have stepped up industrial action, encouraging their members to work to rule, go slow, and carry out silent protests outside their offices during lunch breaks. A WhatsApp message has also been making the rounds, urging all unionized workers to call in sick on Wednesday and Thursday. We hear more about what happened at the Bridgetown port in this report from Ryan Gilks of the Barbados Today.
Well, at 20 minutes to 9 this morning, the port workers would have walked off the job. Their bone of contention is the fact that a long-standing procedure was not followed. The issue at hand is that this morning the Carnival Fascination would have come in, and instead of the mooring team docking that tourist vessel, it is understood that the Barbados Defence Force Coast Guard Reserves would have completed that job. Now, Barbados Today investigations have revealed that the mooring group would have called in sick, and instead of what would normally obtain, that is the reserve group being called out, the soldiers, who some workers say were heavily armed, carried out the duties. Tony Moore, the Barbados Workers Union General Secretary, is here at the port and addressing the striking workers, and she said the port did not follow the process in trying to get other workers. What we saw, she said, is that a simple no-no took place in the port, whereby port work was being performed by people who are not port employees. She says the workers are out of the union and workers need a reasonable response from the Barbados Port Inc. as to why they varied on the agreed practice.
Still in Barbados, the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, has denied a request by former Police Commissioner Darwin Doughton, who was seeking to appeal a decision of the Court of Appeal in his country over being sent on administrative leave. Darwin was sent on leave in 2013 by the Governor-General after the Police Service Commission recommended his retirement in the public interest. He immediately filed for judicial review and also sought a number of injunctions, including one to prevent his forced retirement and the appointment of a new permanent commissioner. The matter went to the High Court and then to the Court of Appeal, which agreed with the decision of the lower court to grant interim relief, except in the matter of his reinstatement, since he had already retired. Doughton later sought leave from the CCJ to appeal the decision of the appeal court. Late last week, the CCJ dismissed the application for special leave and ordered cost of $6,667 Barbados dollars in favor of the Police Service Commission. The court also encouraged counsel to proceed with the hearing of the substantive matter concerning Doughton's dismissal.
I, Edward David Jorobert II, do swear that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
David Burt was sworn in as Bermuda's youngest ever premier on Wednesday afternoon. This after his Progressive Labour Party shattered predictions to sweep to a commanding victory over the incumbent One Bermuda Alliance in Tuesday's general election. The result prompted former Premier Michael Dunkley to step down as OBA leader and its losing deputy to quit politics altogether. The PLP won 24 of the 36 seats in the House of Assembly, while the OBA took the other 12. 5 independents, including former Premier Paula Cox, were all soundly beaten. In addition to holding on to the 17 seats it won in the 2012 election, the PLP captured 7 others from the OBA, including some regarded as safe seats. The PLP was previously in power for 14 years, up to 2002, having ousted the now defunct United Bermuda Party in 1998. An opinion poll in the Royal Gazette newspaper on Saturday had given the OBA a double-digit lead. Bert, a 38-year-old father of 2, said he would name his new cabinet on Thursday. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown claims that Sandals Grand is trying to force the government to give it concessions. His comments come as he addressed the announcement by the hotel of a temporary closure. The leading Caribbean resort chain says it is closing the Sandals Grand Antigua from September 20 for a 5-month period, which includes the busy winter period. In a statement to Observer Media, Brown revealed that Sandals had recently made a request for Cabinet to waive the duties and taxes on food and beverages, but that request was denied on the grounds that it would significantly reduce government's tax revenues. Brown says it was explained to Sandals officials that the government's finances are in a very precarious position and that if there is a waiver of duties and taxes on food and beverage, it would plunge the government's finances into a crisis. He says it would appear that this decision was not to their satisfaction and that the closure is a play for additional concessions. Sandals served notice of its intention to temporarily close the property in a letter dated July 14. Chief Operations Officer Sean Da Costa informed the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union that the hotel would be closed to undertake essential maintenance work. At least 700 workers at the Dickinson Bay property will be affected while the hotel closes for the first time in 25 years. Jamaica has been ranked number 1 in the Caribbean on the Global Cybersecurity Index. According to a report produced by the International Telecommunication Union, Jamaica was among 134 member states which responded to questions based on the core area of the ITU Global Cybersecurity Agenda. The survey, conducted in 2016 through an online platform, measured the commitment of all 193 ITU member states to improving cybersecurity through legislation, projects and programs, capacity building and cooperation. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Andrew Wheatley says that while he was optimistic about the latest rankings and applauds the efforts of the Cyber Incident Response Team, there is still a lot more work to be done. Wheatley added that the government, through the Cyber Incident Response Team, continues to strengthen its cybersecurity responsiveness and boost its public education program. He said he's confident that Jamaica's rankings will continue to improve. And coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a call for the Jamaica government to crack down on the illegal cigarette trade because of its link to organized crime. That story and more after the break. Do stay with us.
The Caribbean Broadcasting Union and its regional and international partners at the CBU Annual General Assembly, August 21st through 24th at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau, the Bahamas, under the theme Digital Developments in Caribbean Media. Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, will welcome delegates during the opening ceremony. Guyana's Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, will offer a keynote address on digital developments in the region. See the launch of the UNESCO-sponsored Manual of Social Media Guidelines for Caribbean Journalists, with guest speaker Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. And hear from international media players about the new developments in digital television standards in Europe, the US, and Japan. And this year's Caribbean Broadcasting Awards Gala at the Atlantis Resort Paradise Island is not to be missed. Call 246-430-1007 to book your space in the 3-day conference and exhibition. Don't miss the CBU 48th Assembly at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau from August 21st through 24th. Discounts on flights to the Assembly on the official airline Caribbean Airlines.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
We continue in Jamaica, where the opposition spokesman on national security is calling on the Andrew Holness administration to crack down on the illegal cigarette trade because it's fueling organized crime.
We don't know what the contents are. We certainly not collecting any revenues from them, and somebody is making a lot of money in this industry. And this is undoubtedly not only putting our population at risk, but one of the things fueling organized crime in Jamaica and corrupting the customs and the whole regulatory system.
And for Dr. Fenton Ferguson, he is urging the police to enforce the ban on smoking in public spaces.
There are places operating uptown and downtown where persons are still smoking, which is infringing on the rights of citizens who are non-smokers.
Meanwhile, the health minister says the health subcommittee of the Cannabis Licensing Authority is working on a number of initiatives to protect the public's interest. These include ethical guidelines for medicinal cannabis research, medicinal cannabis cards, training programs for physicians, and the registration of cannabis products. Dr. Christopher Tufton pointed to a study by the National Council on Drug Abuse, which showed that 28% of the population used cannabis at some point in their life. 70% of the population reported having easy access to the commodity.
Laws concerning possession and smoking of cannabis will lead, Mr. Speaker, from a public health perspective, in our opinion, to a breakdown in law and order and deterioration of non-smokers' rights to enjoy a smoke-free environment, especially in public spaces. Indeed, appropriate regulations must focus on protecting public health. Policy structures must be based on the need to keep harm to a minimum and should be guided, we believe, by what the science concludes.
The health minister adds that $50 million is being spent on a public education campaign to discourage smoking.
We thank TVJ News for those inserts. Guyana is preparing legislation to control the use of tobacco. The Ministry of Public Health says the aim of the legislation is to protect the public from the harmful effects of tobacco smoke. There will first be a sensitization period in which the public will be educated on their health and social rights. Statistics indicate that 28% of men and 3.5% of women in Guyana use tobacco. We get more in this report from Ayana George of HGP TV Nightly News.
WHO is lending its support to the Ministry of Public Health to tackle the epidemic of tobacco use and the burden of tobacco-related diseases in Guyana. The Ministry of Public Health's Public Relations Officer, Terence Esiboom, says the aim is to implement a legislation that will protect citizens from the hazardous content of tobacco.
The tobacco industry, has the financial wherewithal to fund advertising, which helps mainstream smoking as a cool habit, while at the same time hiding the fact that, one, globally, one person dies every 6 seconds from tobacco use. And if we extrapolate that, there will be 10 persons every minute.
He added that many non-communicable diseases are linked to tobacco products, and this results in an annual rise in the expenditure of the Public Health Ministry.
That exposure to tobacco smoke causes not only deaths, but also diseases and disabilities. For example, workers exposed to tobacco smoke on a regular basis will have a risk of cancer that is between 7 and 700 times higher. Children exposed to secondhand smoke suffer from a wide range of ailments, including acute respiratory diseases, bronchitis, and pneumonia.
National PAHO WHO consultant Cassandra Alves disclosed that training will be administered to health officials in the administrative regions with the aim of making Guyana a leader in tobacco control. She went on to say that tobacco industry is extensive, and to see the legislation come to life, the public first must be educated on the importance of their social and health rights.
WHO, PAHO, Bloomberg Initiative, I mentioned Mayor Bloomberg, he pumps a lot of money internationally into tobacco control. In fact, he paid for consultations, his organization and whatnot in Guyana. So we have gotten international assistance, so we get continued assistance, and we do get continued training. I have been a participant in a lot of training, and so Dr. Singh and I, the next set of training we're going to get is implementation.
PAHO WHO statistics revealed that the average age person started smoking tobacco were between ages 13 to 15 years. 26.6% of males smoke tobacco daily, with just 3.3% for females.
Still in Guyana, 1 month after being removed from his post as Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Roopnarine has offered his resignation from the newly created post of Minister of Public Service in the Ministry of the Presidency. According to News Source Guyana, President David Granger confirmed receiving the letter from Roopnarine but did not offer details on the contents. The online publication reports that although Roopnarine was transferred to head the Department of Public Service in the Ministry of the Presidency, there were no clear responsibilities presented to him, and the department was still to be fully set up and staffed. But Roopnarine's party, the Working People's Alliance, has been raising concerns about the party being sidelined in the coalition government. Shortly after news of resignation emerged, the WPA voiced its support and cautioned that if another party member is not appointed a minister, it would be unable to influence policy making in government. Roopnarine was Granger's running mate in the 2011 elections and served as a senior member of the party, a Partnership for National Unity, when it joined forces with the Alliance for Change in the 2015 election, which they won. The WPA says Roopnarine's resignation would most likely be discussed next Saturday at the APNU's first executive meeting in almost 2 years. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies under-19s take the Youth One Day International Series against South Africa. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Ready. It's another episode when we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road. Drink, drink, drink. King Baba and the guitar. Every fact that a boy keep on calling me wrong name, but that's okay, 'cause that's my babe. I don't understand how wearing a name tag on me. I don't know what to say, he's still calling me wrong name. Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Off-spinner Bhaskar Yadram held his nerve to bowl a brilliant last over as West Indies under-19s snatched a dramatic 2-run victory over South Africa under-19s and sealed a 3-2 win in the 5-match Youth One-Day International Series in Durban on Wednesday. Set 245 to win at Chatsworth Oval, the hosts entered the final over requiring 8 runs, but Yadram conceded just 5 runs to restrict them to 242 for 7 of their 50 overs. The young Proteas were in pole position to take victory with just 3 required from the last 2 deliveries, but Yadram kept Kenyan Smith scoreless of both to complete a phenomenal spell. The Guyanese ended with 3 for 37. Left-arm spinner Jevron Royal was again among the wickets with 2 for 31 from his 10 overs. The result was heartbreaking for South Africa opener Matthew Brisk, who struck exactly 100, his second century of the series, while partner Javan Pillay got 44 and Gerald Cortez 33. Earlier, West Indies under-19s rode on the back of opener Keegan Simmons' unbeaten 107 as they gathered 244 for 5 off their 50 overs after being sent in. Opener Joshua Prasad, in only his second match of the series, struck 46, while Alec Athanaze extended his decent form with 40. Seema Thando Ntindi, the son of legendary South Africa Test fast bowler, claimed 2 for 38. Simmons took the man of the match honour, while Yadram was adjudged man of the series for his 205 runs, including 2 half-centuries, along with his 5 wickets. Meantime, under-19s head coach Graham West has praised the resolve of his players following their sterling comeback to snatch that dramatic last-over victory. He told CMC Sports following the victory that the boys were a very determined group of players, and when the chips were down, they managed to turn it around. West said the last over had been typical of the determination of the Caribbean side had exhibited throughout the game. The series proved a competitive one, with the pendulum swinging back and forth from the opening game, which South Africa won by 5 wickets in Durban. West Indies leveled the series with a 2-wicket win and before going under by 115 runs at the same venue last Friday, but they beat the young Proteas by 4 wickets last Sunday and set up Wednesday's series decider. West said the series was integral since the 2 teams are due to meet in the preliminary round of next year's Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand. The young Windies will now head to Zimbabwe for a 3-match one-day series against the hosts. Trinidad and Tobago retained their regional under-17 title after all 3 final round matches were abandoned because of heavy rain from the passage of Tropical Storm Dawn on Tuesday. The hosts ended on 19.8 points, with Barbados second on 16 and Windward Islands third on 14.7 points. Leeward Islands finished narrowly ahead of Guyana, while Jamaica were bottom on 1.3 after sustaining 4 defeats in their 5 matches. Playing at the National Cricket Centre, TNT Limited Leeward stood 214 all out, or 47.3 overs, before the rains arrived and ruined any chance of a reply. Damari Benter, batting at number 7, top scored with 47, while opener Yuri Smith got 27 and captain Elroy Francis 26. They were 2 key partnerships during the innings, with Smith adding 48 for the first wicket, with Shaquan Pemberton 24 and Francis and Paul Miller 18 posting another 44 for the 5th wicket. When Leeward slumped from 128 for 4 to 148 for 7, Benter then shepherded the innings, striking 7 fours in a 60-ball knock. Off spinner Avish Mahabir Singh was the best bowler with 3 for 48 from his 10 overs. At Gilbert Park, Barbados dismissed Guyana for 149 of their 50 overs before rain also prevented them from starting their reply. And in the other game at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, opener Kirk McKenzie struck a stroke-filled 81 off 60 balls as Jamaica reached 186 for 7 off 48 overs against Windward Islands before the game was abandoned. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago but switching to another sport, Jamal Shabazz is back at the helm of national women's football programs. He takes over just days after the termination of the contracts of Carolina Morassi and Nicola Williams. Shabazz, who recently returned to the sidelines with his home club, Mova Caledonia in the TT Pro League will drive the various programs, including the senior national women's team in their quest for World Cup qualification in France 2019 and the national under-20 program, which will host the CONCACAF final round of World Cup qualification early next year. A new head coach will be appointed to lead the women's under-17 program, which is seeking qualification to next year's CONCACAF Championship, which qualifies teams to the World Cup finals in Colombia in 2019. Still in football, head coach Dennis Lawrence will be without his marquee overseas-based pros when Trinidad and Tobago take on Ecuador in an international friendly next Wednesday. The contest is being staged outside the FIFA window, forcing many of the Trinidadian stars who are key components of the country's World Cup bid for Russia 2018 to honor commitments to their clubs. This has forced Lawrence to rely almost exclusively on TT Pro League players as the Soca Warriors prepare for their next round of World Cup qualifiers in September, when they take on Honduras at the Otto Bolden Stadium in Cuba and then face off against Panama in Panama City.
It would have been a great benefit to us if we were in the World Cup. I think it would have been added value to our preparations. But the benefit I've took out of it is at least the players are actively playing in the Pro League. We've managed to acquire this friendly against Ecuador, which is very good at the TTFA to be able to do that. And we're trying to see how we can bridge that gap between not being involved in the Gold Cup and how we can try and be a bit closer, more prepared for the Honduras game.
Lawrence, like any good coach with his salt, has his connections in the United States and at home, assessing teams and players on show at the Gold Cup, as they scout possible opponents ahead of the resumption of World Cup play.
The idea is I've got my match analyst who's working closely with me, where I'm taking notes of the games. He's there watching some of the games, and the idea is we're going to try and build our reports. I think if you look at the Gold Cup, apart from Honduras, most of the teams are using relatively different squads. So I think it gives us an idea, but it's not totally what we expect to be. I think Honduras is probably the only team that's using the full strength squad, which is good for us. But we are keeping an eye on it and trying to make sure that we'll be prepared.
And that report was from Ruskin Mark of C Sport. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and Carib Vision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Again, the major developments of this day: workers at the Bridgetown port in Barbados down tools as the industrial climate in the country deteriorates. And in sport, West Indies under-19s take the Youth One Day International Series against South Africa. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CondaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.